Welcome to Val d'Argenton, a charming haven nestled in the heart of picturesque countryside. This region has offered many people a peaceful retreat from the hustle and bustle of city life for years, until you come across the Val d'Argenton kart track. Opening in the year of '96, it has played host to several major karting championships over the years. In 2020, the circuit was brought back to life after being purchased by former French karting star Arnaud Salazan. In 2022, the track was fully re-tarmacked to make the racing surface as smooth as possible. This weekend, Val d'Argenton sees 170-plus drivers in the OK and OKJ categories racing for round 2 of the Champions of the Future. It's a dead heat going into the weekend. For the junior category, Nicolas Schaufler and Dries Van Langendonck joint on 88 points. It's a similar story in the seniors, with Gabriel Gomez leading by 6 points ahead of Finn McLaughlin. With the weather on a knife edge between dry and wet conditions, drivers have it all to play for here in France.
Thursday's qualifying began with 95 drivers in the juniors from all over the globe, all taking part in the first ever weekend at Val d'Argenton for the Champions of the Future. And it was Finland's Sebastian Lehtomäki who put it on pole. That was followed closely by William Kalesia from Australia.
Yeah, it was really good. Again, the quali, and yesterday we have been testing different things with the engine and the chassis, and now we put every piece together, and the pace is there.
The first heats took place on Thursday, with Dries Van Langendonck taking the win in Heat 1. Heat 2 saw the American Jack Iliff take first place after a close fight with Kostoja. Sebastian Lehtomäki took the top spot in Heat 3 after putting it on pole in qualifying. The last 3 heat winners on day 1 was Filippo Sala with Archie Lovett and Sebastian Lehtomäki taking his second win of the weekend. The start to Friday's heats was a dramatic one. The leaders Lovett and Kalesia colliding at turn 7. This allowed the final winner from Valencia, Rocco Coronel, to take his first win of the weekend. Dries Van Langendonck was back on top in his third race of the weekend, with Aguma close behind after a tough fight with Filippo Sala. It was then time to see if Sebastian Lehtomäki could make it 3 out of 3. With the Finn having a difficult start, it was Devon Roltz from America who would take an early lead, a lead he would hold on to, denying Lehtomäki the win. It was a good start to the day for Van Langendonck, back on top after a P14 finish in his second heat. It wasn't an easy fight though, having to fend off the likes of Roman Kamyap and Kip Bolowski. Another heat and another new winner. This time it was Poland's Kasper Reipold who took the win after battling with Schaufler for the most of it. Drama then ensued with Jean-Matteo Rousseau and Devon Roltz crashing, forcing the championship leader at the time, Nicolas Schaufler, to take to the grass. The last 4 qualifying heats of the weekend were close fought, with Lehtomäki taking the win and a 5th in his last 2 races. He would secure pole for Superheat 1. Filippo Sala would have a similar story, taking a 3rd and a win in his last 2 races, meaning he would secure pole for Superheat 2.
Yeah, I'm happy about all the results that we done in these 2 days. Pole position and 2-hit win, always in the top 3. So I'm very happy. We was very consistent, and let's see tomorrow how it will go.
The 95 drivers that started the weekend had now been cut down to 72 for the 2 superheats on Saturday. Superheat 1 was a good start for the whole grid, with Kenzo Craigie taking an early lead. Lehtomäki would take the lead back though, allowing Rocco Coronel to close in, the driver from the Netherlands securing the lead on lap 9 and then would go on to take the race win ahead of Boris Leisen. Superheat 2 saw a big change for the intermediate classifications, with Filippo Sala topping the board after winning the Superheat 2. He would secure pole for the final. Devon Roltz would finish second from Pohjola, finishing 3rd, securing a top 10 start for the final. Final time, and it was Filippo Sala on pole position with Sebastian Lehtomäki alongside. It was a shaky start for many after several karts span off at turn 1. The race continued with Sala and Craigie breaking away. Craigie took the lead later on, which allowed Pohjola to close into 3rd place after starting in P9. With the gap open, Pohjola then moved up into P2 on the hunt towards Kenzo Craigie. Not long passed, and Pohjola had closed in for the lead, with a big send down the inside into turn 3. Schaeffler was now on the charge. Another driver who started well down the order was fighting in the top 3, later getting past Craigie with a move into turn 7. But it would be Finland's Joel Pohjola who would win on French soil by an incredible 4.2 seconds ahead of Nicolas Schaeffler and Kenzo Craigie. In the seniors, 78 drivers had ventured out to the French countryside for round 2 of the Champions of the Future, and Romania's David Cosma Christopher had put it on pole ahead of Australia's Lewis Francis.
Yeah, I honestly didn't expect that because I didn't do the test. I couldn't come to the test, and I was really not expecting this result, but I found a really good gap and I did my time, so I'm very happy about the quali.
Thursday's first heats for the seniors saw some real action, with Jimmy Helias from France winning Heat 1. Heat 2 saw the beginning of a dominant weekend for Zac Drummond, winning just ahead of Jindřich Peschel. But it was also a dominant start for Gabriel Gomez in Heat 3, taking his first win of the weekend. The remaining heat winners on Thursday were Zac Drummond with his second win, Lewis Francis and Thibaut Ramaekers. Friday's opening qualifying heat was one to remember for some and one to forget for others, with Marcus Schilkunas getting spun at turn 5 and the biggest moment of the weekend when Falcon Racing's Emilio Koivisto and Prema Racing's Luna Flusha tangled at turn 13, forcing both drivers into the barrier at high speed. At the end though, it would be Gabriel Gomez back on top with an incredible showing from Joe Turney in P2, gaining 14 places. Zac Drummond then made it 3 wins out of 3 after a close fight with fellow Brit Noah Wolff, finishing less than half a second behind. After having a good day on Thursday, Jindřich Peschel had an even better one on Friday, taking his first win of the weekend ahead of factory CRG driver Mark Dubnitsky. Group B versus E was another great race for some familiar faces, with Lewis Francis taking another win ahead of Gomez, but it would be an impressive drive by Spain's Aaron Garcia, a new asset to the DPK Racing Team's awning. The good results continued for both Dubnitsky and Peschel, finishing 1 and 2 in their next heat. This time though, they had the close company of the 2023 Junior European Champion Alexander Bondarev, close on their tail after only dropping 1 spot. The last 4 qualifying heats on Friday were very interesting to say the least, with Gomez taking a win in his final heat. He would put himself on pole for Super Heat 1, after being joint on points with Drummond in the previous race. With Drummond taking a 4th and a 2nd in his last 2 races, he would secure pole for Super Heat 2 on Saturday.
It's going a really good week for us. We are testing something more important for the European, but we are getting there. I think for tomorrow we still need to fund a little bit, but we are in the game.
With the top 2 point scorers in qualifying heats starting in separate super heats, it was down to the rest of the field to see if they could break the winning streaks. In Super Heat 1, pole sitter Gomez dropped to P3 after a great fight with Ramaekers and Werrell. With Werrell gaining 7 places, he allowed others to follow in behind, with Aaron Garcia and Noah Montero gaining 8 places each to finish in the top 5. With Super Heat 2, Drummond knew exactly what he needed to do to beat both Gomez and Ramaekers to the pole. That was easier said than done though, with Drummond having the pressure of Morgato and Turney for most of it. The young Brit would hold on though, taking a win by 1.2 seconds. He would secure pole for the final and 25 championship points. It was final time, and after an intense fight during the qualifying heats, it's Drummond who would start on pole with Thibaut Ramaekers alongside. But it would be Gomez who would take advantage of the start, getting into P1 in towards turn 1. It wouldn't last long as Morgato went on the attack and took the lead on the opening lap. Only 2 laps later, Gomez would get back through, with the lead battle being 10 karts strong even after a few laps. But eyes were focused on the battle for P3 between Ramaekers and Francis. As good as it was to watch, the gap ahead to the lead was opening up. Disaster then struck for pole sitter in qualifying David Cosma. He was out of the final on lap 4. Lap 6 would see more drama, with Prema Racing's Selim Hanar spinning wildly off the track at turn 1 after a mechanical failure on the start-finish straight. Drummond would get back into the lead later on, the Brit not giving up after not the best start. This was allowing Ramaekers to close in too. The battle for the lead wasn't over yet, with positions changing back and forth. Lewis Francis started to make some moves in the background, getting up into P3 in the early stages. It looked to be going the way of Gabriel Gomez, but both Drummond and Ramaekers, who had closed back in, started to pile on the pressure, with Ramaekers getting both of them on lap 15 into turn 3. Drummond would lose out 2 corners later, his chance for a top 3 finish fading away. This brought back the Kart Republic duo of Francis and Turney back into play. More drama for Prema Racing later into the race when Alexander Bondarev went off at turn 13, another mechanical failure for the team. After a very intense final in France, it would be Thibaut Ramaekers who would take the win, 2.8 seconds clear from Joe Turney and his teammate Lewis Francis in third. With 2 rounds now under their belts for both juniors and seniors, it's hard to tell who will be champion in 2024. For Joël Pohjola, this could be the start of his fight to be champion, and the same for Thibaut Ramaekers and the seniors after their wins at Val d'Argenton. The championship at the end of round 2 changes hands, with Dries Van Langendonck leading the juniors and Zac Drummond now leading the seniors. It's all to play for as we head to another brand new track on the calendar. The Slovakia ring greets the champions of the future next. Will we see back-to-back winners or new drivers take to the top as we head to Slovakia for round 3 of the champions of the future?